We begin here in Washington, where after 22 months, thousands of subpoenas, 34 indictments, and no shortage of political discourse, the Mueller Report on Russian collusion in the Trump campaign is finally out. There are hundreds of redactions, but here are some of the key pieces that we have learned in that 448-page report. The document confirms that Russia did interfere in the 2016 presidential race, but the special counsel's investigation did not find enough evidence to link the Trump campaign to those efforts. The report also did not clear the president of obstruction of justice, saying it did not have enough evidence to file those charges. However, Congress is now left with the option to pursue those accusations. Well, also in that report is an account of the president's reaction to the appointment of the special counsel, where he says, quote, "Oh my God, this is terrible. This is the end of my presidency," followed by an expletive. And then, according to then Attorney General Jeff Sessions, Trump turned to him angrily and said, "How could you let this happen, Jeff? You were supposed to protect me." Well, despite the president's declaration of total vindication, Democrats have come out swinging. Jerry Nadler, who's the head of the Congressional Council investigating the president, says that 448-page document contains strong evidence of the president attempting to interfere.
The report concluded there was substantial evidence, in quotes, that President Trump attempted to prevent an investigation into his campaign and his own conduct.
Well, during the course of Robert Mueller's investigation, the team's search for collusion expanded to the president's response and his efforts to obstruct their work. Let's bring in our Courtney Keeley to talk about this. She's only been following the story for the entire day. Courtney, it looked at 10 instances, this report, 10 examples that they were looking into with regard to the obstruction theory. What do you think were the most significant parts of that?
I think what the most significant out of everything after nearly 2 years of this investigation is the attempt for everyone to try to control the narrative, which went on this morning with the Attorney General having this press conference, Trump declaring game over with a Game of Thrones tweet, then saying in the White House, no collusion, claiming exoneration, which is decidedly different from the real narrative, which is the report. I mean, people can draw their own conclusions and tell the story however they want. But what Robert Mueller did was he laid it out in a way that it was some of the things that Trump tried to do could have been an obstruction of justice if he had succeeded. So one of the key big takeaways from the very beginning was former White House counsel, the former White House counsel lawyer said, Trump said, "Send a letter, fire Mueller." And he said, "I can't do that." He was fired. Trump didn't fire Mueller, which could have been obstruction. So there apparently in this report, you have prosecutors, saying that they'll never take it to a criminal case unless they can really prove it and win. But where this opens up right now is where Congress will take it next.
So Trump seems to think he's been vindicated in all of this, but his troubles are actually far from over here.
His playbook for decades has been at the advice of his favorite and his mentor, his personal lawyer. And what he always does is claim victory. He claims victory publicly. But what we saw in this report, he was certainly not claiming victory in that description of him saying, "I could lose the presidency," in this excerpt that was taken from a memo by former Attorney General Jeff Sessions' aide. He says, anytime there's an investigation like this, it ends a presidency. So it really showed the inner monologue of Trump, or the inner room monologue that was monologue and discussion that was happening, rather than how he portrays it, with under the tutelage of Roy Cohn, which is never admit defeat, only claim victory.
Sure. And in all of this, Courtney, one of the definitive parts of this investigation was that Russia did interfere in the 2016 election. What do we learn in this report about the extent of that?
Well, there's so much to go through. I mean, even the table of contents is stunning. So it's clear that Russia meddled. It's clear that Russia had goals here to disrupt the election and to sow chaos and discord. What's very clear, too, is that the Trump administration and the Trump campaign did not conspire with Russia to do so, but they had meetings, they had discussions. It might have been unwitting information or thinking that they could talk because they'd been business buddies and wanted to build a hotel together, but they came to Washington and all legal questions arose, which was much different than the way they conduct business in New York. This was according to a presidency, not a Trump organization business kind of deal.
All right, Courtney Keeley, there's going to be so much material to talk about in the coming days, weeks, and I'm sure months ahead. Appreciate you being with us.